Okay, let's talk through all these golf events that you have coming up.
Gabby, I'm glad you asked. Got my calendar right here. July 17th at Red Run, and then July 31st, I have the American Golf Outing for the Cancer Society.
I also have the American Cancer Society golf outing on the 31st, and also I got yours on the 18th, buddy.
Yeah, I'm gonna be
Boys, these are a lot of events and golf outings.
Well, you want me to miss my own golf tournament?
Gabby, they're all great calls.
I mean, this is.
Hold on. I got this. Guys, I got this. Don't worry about it. Hold on a second.
He always.
Hey guys, thanks for coming so fast. How are ya?
Remember the guys from Randy Wise, right? The Randy Wise Celebrity Golf Tour.
Watch for the eye.
It's the Randy Wise Celebrity Golf Tour. Some of the biggest names in Michigan sports. And some, well, not so much. Brought to you in part by Premier Security Solutions, Fairway Packing Company, and Swiss Insurance. Watch episodes at woodwardsports.com.
Oh, here we go. It has gotta be that kind of day. It's a Friday. Big D energy. Darren McCarty, Lindsay Hunter in for Neil Rule, Flannel Sam, as always, Spenmo Rex. Here on a Friday, Woodward Sports, happy to be with you. Thanks for joining us. Let me do this, obviously. If Neil's doing it, Detroit Dabber, first in again. That's 2 in a row. I missed you yesterday, buddy. But everybody who's joined the woodwardsports.com chat thread, however you find out. Good morning to you guys on this post NBA draft Friday. If you live under a rock or you haven't paid attention, Ausar Thompson, number 5, as Lindsay, you called him. What did I said? Lindsay, how do you pronounce his name? And you said?
Twin.
Yes. One of the twins, yes, out of the academy, which one of the, talk a little bit about these twins, because these were some of the guys that were speculated to come. Both of there's twin 1 and twin 2, or
yep, just call them twins.
Twins, exactly. But we got Ausar, which to me, am I hearing this correctly? Suspect in the shooting game, but defensively is supposed to be where his prowess. So
yeah, he's a freakishly athletic kid. Doesn't shoot. You know, his numbers don't look great shooting wise. But, I remember hearing about them a couple of years ago, and I started watching the twins and just watching how they play. And they both have unique, distinctive, unique abilities. One is a point guard. The twin that went higher.
What is his name, Spenny?
Amen.
So there's Eamon and Ausar.
Yep. Twin 1 and twin 2.
T1 and T2. Twiddle D, twiddle dum. There you go.
So the one we got, he's more of a shooting guard, and 6'7", long, rangy wing who can really defend. You just want to see him get better as a shooter, and I think being drafted and now basketball is what you do full time. He should be able to, pick those things up. Playing with Cade and Ivy should take a lot of the playmaking responsibilities from him, but I still want to, I love perimeter guys that can do it all. And I think as a perimeter guy, you have to be able to do, especially in today's game, you have to be able to do, a little bit of everything.
Well, I think it's a little bit different perspective. And with you and I, specifically, Darren McCarty and Lindsay Hunter, sitting here, we look at players, even the top players, and we're always looking for that dog, right?
Yes.
Like do the best, because the best guys, right? The best guys that we've played with, they've had the dog in them in a different way or not. And you brought up something that I want you to tell the people too, because here's the one thing. When I bring up a basketball name, and then I automatically think, well, what's Lindsay thinking about this? Because how's his engine under the hood, right? How's his engine under the hood? And one of the things you brought up, which as a scout is sort of the misnomer, was the fact of what's the dog in these guys. Can you elaborate, like we were talking about before, about and it's more to work ethic, right?
Yes. And man, I just remember scouting, and and we spend hours and hours, and teams spend tons of money doing background checks. You know, we go and talk to elementary school teachers and neighbors and just crazy things that we do when we're invested in a kid that we think that we're going to draft. And the one thing, man, that just kind of baffled me was we did all this research, we do all these different things, we get the analytical people involved, and we do all this stuff, and then you find out that the person that you pick doesn't really want to be great. Doesn't really want to put the work in.
And here's and break it down too, because here's the thing. Because everybody surrounding that person, from the school teacher to whatever, doesn't want to step in the way of giving him the shine, so they're not going to tell you. Because you mentioned too, you train a lot of guys, you see a lot of guys come in, and until you can watch all the tape on them, hear everything else, and until you are guarding them or making them do drills or whatever to see what they're made of, that until you know, right?
That's how. Yes.
Because I thought that, and we bring this up too, because if the one deterrent is the talent level's not hard to see on guys, right? You can see talent, you can see speed, you can see jump, you can see hoop, all that stuff, but it's what's under the hood. I think, Spenny, a couple things about picking Ausar Thompson. And Troy Weaver, actually, we're going to let him tell in his own words. I think he was poignant to one point about seeing talent. And there's always a question about these guys that are a little older, that are like 21, playing against like 18, 19-year-old guys. We talked about this yesterday about why Scoot's ready to boot Scoot and Boogie because he's playing the G League, because he's a man, because he's played against men, and that's the question mark. But Troy Weaver had something to answer his critics about Ausar Thompson.
Yeah, this is courtesy of Jenna Trotman, this video.
Hey, Jenna. Jail 7.
Is there more of a challenge in evaluating and projecting with those kind of league, because there just isn't a track record with it, more so than even the G League or overseas?
You can say that, but when you see something different, you see something elite, you know it. I don't think that I think Halle Berry is pretty in church or in the grocery store, so I think that you can kind of figure it out when you see something pretty special. So.
Giggity. But here's this. You know why Troy Weaver's a G? He been sitting on that line for a minute.
Yeah.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying? Like, when can I pull it out? Like, it's gonna be so good. But it's true, right, Linz? But to the point, you can see that, but it doesn't answer your question.
No,
which is the question now. Due diligence and all this other stuff. Now, here's the interesting thing, though, right? When you talk about wanting to be great and looking for signs, because I got to give my boy Spenmo Rax some credit on the deep dive, right? Mm-hmm. Woodward heavyweights 5 to 7. You can catch him Monday to Friday. It doesn't matter. But Spenny, tell him the D. And I like this because this is right in D-Mac's wheelhouse when you find like little things like this. And you're going back actually a few years in the draft, right?
Yeah. So it was said. Ausar Thompson said that when him and his brother Eamon were watching the draft.
So Ausar went the pick before to Houston.
Yeah, Eamon went to Houston. We got Ausar.
Yeah.
And when they were watching the draft a couple years ago and like looking at the players, Eamon thought that Jalen Green should go number 1 overall, and Ausar thought that Cade Cunningham should go number 1 overall. So we got the guy who liked Cade, and Houston got the guy who liked Jalen Green.
Isn't that the word?
Interesting.
Yeah.
But it all works out. Now, Lindsay, I'm gonna one of the things too is like you said about different guys and not really know until you get out there.
Right.
There's the fact that Ausar Thompson is sort of one of the things that jumps out is defense, right?
Yes.
Somebody said the fact that we draft him and he's hard to play defensively. Worst defensive team in the league. Sounds good to me. Is that because to me it's like, okay, so maybe he has that dog in him. We're not saying he doesn't. Right. Just that how do we know, right? How do we know? And that's your biggest question.
Yes. I even self-critiqued because when I was a scout, missing on a kid that, I saw he had all the intangibles. He was super smart, basketball IQ off the charts. But the biggest thing that hurt me was like, dang, how did I miss the fact that he don't want to work? How did I miss that? You know what I'm saying? Like, that was the thing with me. Like, dang, how? So I had to reevaluate my approach and say, man, I got to figure out a way to get around this where I can figure out what guys really want it. Because I'll take a less talented guy that has more drive than a talented guy that doesn't have the drive to maximize his abilities.
Absolutely. Sam, I just want to know, are you happy with who the Pistons took at Ausar Thompson at 5, or do you think there was a better pick to be made?
I mean, it wasn't my first choice. I would have rather them taken Taylor Hendricks, but as I've gotten to process it, as I got to do the show this morning with Jeff, I've been talked into the idea that Ausar Thompson can be a good player for this team. One thing that I was impressed with is we all know that in the regular season overtime elite, he didn't shoot the 3-ball very well, and that is a valid concern. He was at 30%. But in the overtime elite playoffs, he bumped that shooting percentage up to 39%. And we all know that he's a very, very good wing defender. He's athletic. He can score off ball. And I think he's the type of player that if he hits his ceiling, he might have a higher ceiling than, say, some of the other players they could have picked at 5. I'm not mad of it. I'm not mad about it. It's not something that I'm saying is a home run for sure, but I'm warming up to the idea.
No, that's good. What about you, Spenny? Were you, when the pick came in, and it's sort of not out of the blue, right?
Yeah.
This is a name that had been lobbied about. Did we get the right twin?
Yeah, the right twin available. I think Amen will probably be better just because he's more athletic and more of a real attack guy. But yeah, it was the best pick that they could have made when you're looking at potential star power, what this kid can be if he truly becomes, like Sam said, if he reaches his ceiling. He's got the highest ceiling out of all the guys that we drafted, and he does fit this team a little better than Amen, because Amen's more of a facilitator, slasher, attacker, while this kid is the guy who can play off ball better, he shoots better, and he's better defender. So I love to see it. Like we said, we talked about it before. He's multiple-time OTE League champion, multiple-time OTE League MVP. So it's awesome to see Troy sticking to what he said about the home run, because I also love Taylor Hendricks and thought he was the best fit for this team personally, but that wasn't a home run. At his ceiling, Taylor Hendricks would be an elite 3-and-D wing, like an elite role player. This kid has legitimate star potential.
No, it absolutely does. It seems to me, right, and I see a lot in the woodwardsports.com chat thread, get your chat in it about how mellow Troy is, how chill Troy is. That's because that's what happens when you have a game plan and you're executing your game plan.
Absolutely.
There's nothing to me of seeing or hearing that wasn't their guy. I'm sure that if you ask Troy Weaver, they went down to the wire. They were trying to move the 5th pick. But the fact that they couldn't move him, they got the guy that they wanted to help this team. Let's talk more about that. And obviously, everybody in the chat thread is drawing comparables. Lindsay Hunter and the Sasser kid. Well, let's hear it from himself. Do you see comparables, or I want to know, did the draft play out? Were there any surprises for anybody like this, the way it played out? But we'll talk about that when we come back. First, if you're hungry, are we still in the Strawberry Fest, Spenny?
It still is.
Gosh
Strawberry
darn it,
Fest.
good, man. I got to get over there. What do we got going?
We got a lot, because Strawberry Fest is back at Big Boy. You can try their classic breakfast items like some strawberry hotcakes or mouth-watering red velvet waffle. If you're not feeling breakfast, you can get their strawberry bacon chicken wrap, or cool off with the refreshing Summer Splash salad. And don't forget the classic strawberry pie, including their very delicious classic strawberry pie, deep fried vanilla Oreos, or strawberry hot fudge cake, and more at Big Boy.
Hot gloves Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
Walk into any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men for an award-winning haircut experience and automatically enter for your chance to win not one, but 2 vehicles of your choice, courtesy of Les Stanford Buick GMC of Ferndale. That's right, 2 cars, one for you, one for your wife, your girlfriend, or your best bud. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime, sign in, sit down, watch your favorite team play, and before you know it, your hair will be game ready. Let one of our talented, award-winning stylists make you look handsome and clean. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It's wicked awesome.
We aren't quite sure if they consume more beer or sports. Either way, the heavyweights are here. Live on Woodward Sports, daily 5 to 7 p.m.
Your childhood may be over, but playtime is not. Well, that's why you watch Big D Energy, of course. Outdoor Equipment Company is your source for outdoor power equipment, sales, service, parts, carrying top brands such as Bad Boy, LS Tractor, Steel, and more. Servicing the Great Lakes regions with locations in Metro Detroit and Greater Lansing. For more information, visit us at OutdoorEquipCompany.com. Outdoor Equipment Company, your power equipment playground. Back here, Big D Energy on a Friday, getting ready for the weekend. Darren McCarty, Lindsay Hunter, in for Neil Rule, who is hung over to the tees right now, I'm guessing. I don't have confirmation, but getting ready. What time is it? Oh, he's probably about on the, probably might be making the turn. Yeah. They got 36 today, so you know those up north golf trips for the fellas and the ladies. So Sam Flannel, Spenmo Racks, getting into the NBA draft. Obviously, Ausar Thompson at 5. Wanted to take a quick look for anybody who didn't see, but Spenny, you got like the top 10 guys, and, yeah. And I guess just because the draft sort of played out the way it did, everybody sort of at the top. Although you know, the Hornets taking Brandon Miller at 2 instead of Scoot, was that a surprise? Not really. It's apples and oranges, right?
Because they got.
I think the Blazers actually win with Scoot.
I love Scoot, but I think for fit-wise, because they have LaMelo Ball in Charlotte, you know, they wanted a 2-3 next to him, and I think Brandon Miller fits that perfectly.
So it all makes sense?
Yes.
And stuff like that. Who were some of the guys? Were there any surprises to you, or just were like you mentioned, the fits, right? We always look, and I look at it that way. Who fits in? Obviously, talent-wise and sort of at the top, but what do you need, and who addresses that?
I think the strangest thing watching this draft this year, you saw more teams really trying to get best available. I think most teams were going for best available, and it wasn't even about what fits with me, because there are only, we talk about it, there's only 7 or 8 teams that are really vying for the championship. So everybody else is kind of trying to get to a point where they have enough talent to form a championship team. So I think everybody else was looking at the talent and was like, hey, I'm taking the best kid available at this spot, regardless to position. I think that's what a lot of people did.
All right, in a perfect world, let's say in a perfect world, what is Ausar Thompson, 5th overall pick, coming into camp, right? And I'm going by that the big 3 are healthy, right? We're cruising. How do we see this young player, right, coming out? And you got to remember too, is that the first thing that comes to my mind, okay, hasn't played against men,
right?
So it's going to take time. You mentioned yesterday, if you go back anywhere you watch Woodward Sports Big D Energy, Lindsay broke down the fact that the rookie wall is real as a MFer as anything else, no matter who you are. Now, it might be somebody that has played in Europe and in the G League and stuff like this, but they're still going to hit a month or a couple weeks because the travel is just not the same. So in a perfect world, what can we expect from Ausar Thompson? How does he fit into this Pistons team?
Well, I think ceiling wise, we're if we see any resemblance of Anthony Edwards, we're elated. We're elated. You know, if we can see some Anthony Edwards out of this guy, we'll be like, oh, we got one.
Okay.
You know, I don't know if he'll be as dynamic as Anthony Edwards because Anthony Edwards is a stud.
Right.
You know, but if we can get close to that, I'm happy. I'm happy. You know, so that's kind of how I see him. Like Anthony Edwards mold, man. If he could be close to that, we got a player.
So
You know?
so how many minutes? Like what are the expectations for a guy like this? It's coming off the bench, playing. How do you feel if Lindsay Hunter, coach or whatever, you've been around the game and how do you endear a guy into the game, into the NBA at the different level to be effective, right?
Right. I think coming to a team like Detroit is great for him because I don't think anybody, the only two guys that three guys that are going to be on that floor is Cade, Ivy, and Darren. So there is room for him to play. There'll be an opportunity for him to solidify himself as either a starter or a rotational player. I think Ermanni's going to play the guys that are going to compete and guys that are going to be game plan disciplined and guys that are going to conform to the culture that he's creating here.
No, absolutely. Now, is this sort of a thing that Troy Weaver's looking at, right, with the athleticism and being able to establish, and maybe Monty Williams too, the energy on defense? That's why it's so important of the motor. And I see in the chat thread that people want to see you talk about Sasser and his defense and impact and stuff like this. But between the break, I was asking you about Sasser, who he went to. Where did he go? Utah or
Houston?
Played in Houston.
Right. So no, but the fact is that you just looked at me and went dog.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So the defensiveness and the work effort and stuff like this, and I think that as a younger player too, when you go in with your mouth shut and you're just willing to do the work and you sort of can raise the level. We've seen it with the Red Wings in a Mo Sider, in a Lucas Raymond, raising that compete level of everybody else, taking priority in defense. I think that this kid with all his athleticism and stuff, and if he comes in and says, you know what, I'm going to be the initiation for this movement to keep the ball out of our basket.
Right.
Because what does that do? And it sort of pins everything together. What we talked, it's your transition game.
Yes.
Right? Because this kid is a transitional player. The rest of our guys, right? What's all I hear about Jaden Ivey is, oh my God, he can get up the floor faster than Superman.
Mm-hmm. Right.
We have to use this to our ability. Is that something? Am I out of trying to put myself in Troy Weaver, Monty Williams in drafting this kid? So the fact is that if that motor is there and if Lindsay sees that motor, then you're even further along ahead. Hence, that goes to your Anthony Edwards, correct?
Absolutely. You hit the nail on the head because if he can be, the thing I loved about Anthony Edwards is he's a competitor. Like, I've watched him during games, and, everybody doesn't watch Minnesota play because Minnesota. But I've watched Anthony Edwards because I was a fan of his. I'm like, man, this kid is a dog. Like, and watching him compete against everybody he played against. He always wanted to take the challenge of whoever the best player on the other team was, perimeter-wise, he wanted to guard him. And I was like, that's rare today. Guys don't really do that anymore.
No.
Guys shy away from, I'm going to save my legs for offense. That's kind of the new wave in NBA.
So he's like one of those guys. Who are a few of those guys around the league? Like,
it's not many anymore.
No, right?
It's not. I can't even think of guys like that anymore that take challenges and say, hey, we're gonna guard I'm the best player on this team. You're the best over there. We're gonna guard each other, and we're gonna see who's the head honcho.
I liked seeing that when the Clippers played Phoenix in the playoffs, and it was KD and Kawhi locked up on each other, both sides of the ball just going at it. That was awesome.
See, and that's what you want. Like those are the type of guys, the mentality that you want. I think you win more games with guys like that than you do super talented guys that want to walk around on their tiptoes. I don't like that.
Or play half a season or something like that, or day to day.
Right.
Day to Davis and George. Sam, what do you think that Ausar Thompson can add? What's a realistic? Here's the question. What does he have to do for me not to look over at you during the season and you just absolutely butchering this guy for being brutal, right? Like, what is the minimum or expectation out of the audio booth from Sam Flannel?
All right, when it comes to this year, I would like to see him shoot higher than 30% from three, which was his regular season numbers in Overtime Elite. I'd like to see him shoot closer to his postseason numbers in Overtime Elite, which was 39%. I already mentioned that. I think with Ausar Thompson, what he could bring right off the bat even this season, if you combine that with Cade Cunningham coming back and even Marcus Sasser, is I think they're going to be better defensively as a team. I don't expect them to be as bad as they were, being the bottom 4 in points allowed. I think they're going to be better, and I want to see some off-ball scoring from Ausar Thompson. I don't necessarily think he's going to be a star or even a starter this year, but by the end of the year, I think we'll be looking back and saying that he was at least a good pick and something to build upon.
Spenny?
Yeah, I agree with Sam, although I do think he is going to be a starter. I think you put him out there. I like the benchmark of the 30% shooting. I want to see him get a little higher than that. 30%, 33% from three-point line is something you'd like. And I just like to see him go out there and do what he does best. Just go out there, be that dog, be that guy on the perimeter who is going to take the challenge, even as a rookie. He's big, he's long, he's got a 7-foot wingspan. I want to see him go up and take that challenge. Like Lindsay said, go up and walk up to that guy. Whether it's Phoenix, walk up to Kevin Durant at the top of the key and take that challenge. Walk up to those guys and be like, all right, I'm here now. This is the NBA. I'm going to be facing a guy who can give you 40 any given night. Every given night. Right. There's going to be a guy out there that can score 40, so my job is to go out there and make sure he stays in the 20s.
And that's huge too. And it'll be interesting to see whether you're to accept that. So are we looking for? Because a lot of that spending when you're talking is sort of what we saw in the maturation of Jalen Darren last year in a different position.
Right.
But he never shied away, right? These guys, and I think that's the Troy Weaver. What Monty Williams is going to bring, this mentality, and I think it's like sort of units, and you find that a lot of times, right, with a younger team or a team who's still willing to show that a young guy can come in and he can just like set that energy level.
Well, I think we've seen the example when Monty was in Phoenix with Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson was the kid. Those two guys were similar to this kid, and they got better every year. Now, Mikal Bridges is one of those guys that I love because I watched him get better every single season.
Yeah.
He was known as a, long-range defender, but then he started knocking down shots, making plays. I'm like, oh, this kid works. He works at his craft.
And that's what you're saying. You're saying the fact is that, like, Sam is dropping numbers 30%, 39%. If this kid works, he can get better.
Yes.
That's all it is. So you're not even concerned. Like, and this is a great thing, right? Because, and even though Lindsay has put it out there as far as it's tough to find that out no matter who you are, you're still trying to find out if they have that dog in them, but you're taking that he does, because then the talent will shine through.
Absolutely.
I just think too, a lot of it too is you look at the ages of these guys, right? Even if Cade, that's been here 3 years and stuff like this, what is he, 23? Is he 23 yet? 22?
I don't even think so.
But I mean, these guys are all like 19 to 23.
Right.
Cade's 21.
21. Well, he's been 3 years in the league.
Yes.
So, I mean, as long as, and they can pull the dog out of each other. That's the one thing too, is being able to play for the guy next to you and bringing that dog out.
And that's something I think they have to learn, because the culture in today's sports is different than it was. Like, guys today worry about, I don't want to hurt somebody's feelings. I don't want to, and you can't, if you're going to be great and you're going to be in a great environment, and I think Monty will create this there, can't worry about that. Like, we're brothers. Like, when your brother gets out of line, you put him in line, and we kiss and make up afterwards. But during this time, we're trying to maximize our talents and our abilities as fast as we can. We're trying to get to the pinnacle of our careers as fast as we can and maintain it as long as we can. So in order to do that, hey, I might have to, knock you around a little bit. I may have to show you sometimes that you're not doing it right. And you have to be okay with that. And at the same time, if I'm not doing it right, I got to be able to take the fact that you come at me.
I'm looking at you and I'm seeing, because all I see is Isaiah over your shoulder and I see Stevie Y over mine, where we were raised by two of the absolute greatest in the sport.
Animals.
But what made them is people quiet, smart, whatever like this, assassins.
Yes.
Bro. They are the biggest dogs out of all of us as far as accountability and making you want to be better. I love it. There's one thing that we got to do one more segment on this, because one thing that wasn't addressed right now, shooting. Are you still worried about where we're going to get baskets from, and where does the shooting come from? But first, somebody tell me about insurance, Sam.
Absolutely. Swiss Insurance, to be more specific. And now that summer's here, it is important to make sure you are properly covered. Whether it's a grad party or just a group of people over to enjoy the lake or pool, your liability exposure increases significantly in summertime. Let the Swiss Insurance Group review your coverage and make sure you are protected from an unexpected loss. Check us out at swissins.com or call Mark today at 248-800-4177. That is 248-800-4177, Swiss Insurance.
Can't get enough Woodward Sports content? Head over to woodwardsports.com right now for up-to-date sports articles and great entertainment news. We have the best writers, bloggers, and coverage all at your fingertips. Head to woodwardsports.com right now to experience all Woodward Sports has to offer.
By now you know me, Christina Gennari, as the obvious choice in real estate. And you know my website, soldchristina.com, as your #1 resource for buying or selling your home. Myself, along with my amazing staff, pride ourselves on making your home buying and selling experience a relaxing and easy one. Come see why we are the obvious choice. Christina Gennari at soldchristina.com, the obvious choice in real estate.
We are the network for Detroit, by Detroiters. Welcome to the Woodward Sports Network.
Big D Energy here on a Friday, cruising along. Lindsay Hunter in for Neil Rowe, Darren McCarty, Sam Flannel, Spend Mo Racks. Thanks for joining us all in the chat. AlignWoodwardSports.com. Anywhere you find Spotify, Apple, what are the other ones, Spenny?
Spreaker.
Spreaker?
Yeah, Spreaker.
Like Streaker, but Spreaker?
Oh, yeah.
Holy cow. Spreak it up, Buttercup. And no matter how you do, what do you got to leave?
5-star.
Leave a 5. Leave a 5. Tell Sammy sucks. Tell Spenny he's great. Whatever you want to do. But right now we're just talking. And you know what? I know we got to pull teeth and get through this segment of talking basketball. But, the bottom line is the fact that, right, we didn't address the shooting. Right? Is that still a concern with you? Or what we addressed as far as getting the best available talent, a guy who maybe can help out and set the tone of Monty Williams does defensively? You got the right guy. So moving ahead, we all good with the way that the draft went down?
I think we are. I think, there weren't any surprises like we talked about. I think these guys will be taught a work ethic and a way of going about their business where they will improve. If they buy in, they'll improve. The shooting will get better. I know the defense will be better. I'm not even worried about that because I know, structurally, foundationally, they'll be fine. And once they have that, then they'll have a true identity defensively, and I think they'll feed off of that on the other end, and get those guys out in passing lanes and get those athletes out in open court where they can really do what they do.
Well, and not only the health-wise last year, but absolutely the way that they play. You mentioned it yesterday as far as you can't have transition and you can't have lobs and all this alley-oops and all this other stuff when your back's facing the other end because you're pulling it out of your net.
Taking it out
right?
the net.
So talk about that. It's the biggest thing that Troy Weaver has done is maybe continue to bring that attitude. I see in the chat thread Marcus Sasser. different things like this. I see, like, is it the motor and what Monty Williams wants to bring as far as the system where we're going to see first? Like, do they if we see them giving a shit about keeping the ball out of their own, is that where this starts now?
Absolutely. And you will see that, because that, if you watch, the Suns play, they don't get to compete for a championship without being great defensively. They were really good defensively, and you don't
think of them when you think of Phoenix Suns. Do you think
you
defensively?
Don't think of defense.
And then you start naming Chris Paul and Durant and whoever else, and you're like, well, that's just run and gun or outside three isolation stuff like this. But you're telling me is that defense brought them to the table?
Absolutely.
And until they implemented this, a couple years ago or whatever with Monty Williams' system, then they were unable to get further along or whatever else.
Right. And you saw guys that were, before Monty got there, Booker was just known as what? An offensive juggernaut. Like, people didn't even say defense when you thought about Booker. He was like, oh, he's gonna score. He's gonna get buckets. But then he started competing defensively. Like, you watch him now, he competes.
So is Devin Booker a great example about a guy, right? Because then was that the misnomer that he was obviously the elite guy, but didn't give a care about both ends of the two-way player or whatever like that, which is not true, right? Which is not
true at all.
Do you see where people get this conception or perception or whatever of Monty Williams coming in, right? Guard-centric guy. What does that mean? Open up the guards? No, it probably means locking down, right, like more so than its perception. So it does come back to the individual guys and wanting to do that,
right? Because it's easy to get guys to buy in on the offensive end because everybody wants to score.
Of course, dude. What are you talking? Hey, listen, they have bonuses for offensive, right? They don't. Hey, guys don't have like how many shots I blocked or how many punches I took to the face bonuses. Those are just put in, right?
Right. So
he hit me in extra time over here.
Right. So you got, when you can clearly see the impact that Monty had on Devin Booker and helping him become not only, one of the most dynamic offensive players we've ever seen, but as equally invested on the defensive end. And that's what put Phoenix over the top to becoming a contender.
So you're that guy, right? So you're the guy in the locker room. How did you, because you're like another coach, okay, when you're playing, and especially near at the end, because you always were as cerebral as you were, and obviously on-ball, guard, dog, all that stuff. You took as much pride in it as anything else. But along the way, right, how did you motivate, or how did you get to, because everybody's different, and you have to learn. And this is what I learned from Scotty Bowman. You treat everybody the same, differently. And he learned how to push everybody's buttons. If you had to, piss Shanny off to go Irish or whatever, leave me alone, and you know what, coddle Sergey in different ways. But he knew everybody how to push their buttons. This is something where you have the right psychology or you understanding of the individual person, what makes them go, because I know that you were able to do that and look back at like the championships you won. How are these different ways? Because I think that the same idea from Monty Williams, even from inside, right? Because do the Pistons have the guy like you yet? I don't think so. I don't think he's in the locker room, because you have to win to get that. You have to be right. So they're going to develop that guy. But what is it that along the way? Because you have to, like, it's not just all of a sudden guys are like, they're all in for each other, but there's a different
There's a difference.
And because I know that I'm trying to piece it together, but helping it along the way, right? To understand if that guy's got it. You mentioned Devin Booker, that everybody just assumed he didn't until somebody said, well, why don't you push him to do that? And he does, right? Is this something that we see here? Is this something not only with Thompson, but with all these younger guys? Because still we got young guys, right?
And see, the thing about guys that want to be great, like a Devin Booker or Cade Cunningham, when you challenge them, they accept that and they want that. I remember someone was talking about when the Lakers were playing the Celtics in the finals, and Kobe was struggling. I think he was 5 for 19 or 7 for 21 from the field, and he was struggling. But he had 15 rebounds. You know what I'm saying? He went and got 15 rebounds, probably 8 offensive boards. You know, so a guy like that, that's when you see a guy that says, I'm playing for my brothers. Tonight, I really don't have it, but guess what I'm going to go do? I'm going to go get 15 to 20 boards, and I'm a 2-guard. So I'm showing by example, hey, yeah, I'm known for scoring, but I want to win. So I'm going to do whatever it takes to win. And that's when you earn the respect of your teammates to say, dang, dude will do whatever it takes to win. And things like that happen through just playing and experiencing it more.
Life.
You know, yes,
Life being around each other.
Yes.
You know, having your boys,
yes.
having your guys
I think
back.
it's going to take, what you say, it's going to take time for those guys to develop that cohesiveness and that trust. The fact that, man, he really cares about me on the court and us winning, you know?
And that's where you look and you can look around, right? Because do we not get that sort of, I'm getting that, and I've had that sort of feeling that the Pistons are trying to do that, but again, you got to be healthy because you got to have everybody there. So they've been sort of, it's like playing the jam band.
Right.
They haven't had the original lineup in there yet and what they're doing, but I think they can get there. To what you're talking about is exactly what we're feeling out of Allen Park, right? Why we're so hyped or whatever.
Exactly.
Because every one of those, and it's OTAs, and you listen to them talk, and every time something comes out, that it's because it's real.
Right.
Right? The Red Wings are getting there, but they're not there yet, and that's the tide that it's coming to, right?
Right.
There's a big step to be made, and that's interesting. So I guess the question is, if you look at what Troy Weaver's put together so far, do you believe that this team can get there?
Yeah, look, I told you even before the draft, with Monty coming here.
You yesterday pumped them 15 wins and said that you expect. You didn't say expect, but your intonation or whatever that word is, your tone,
right,
said the fact that you expect them to be battling for a play-in game.
Yes, I expect the Pistons to be fighting for a play-in or 8th or 7th seed. I fully expect them to be right there fighting for it. And I know everybody's going to say, well, they won 17 games. You expect them to win 40? Yes, I do. Whatever that number is to get to the 7th, 8th, 9th, I expect them to be there.
Spenny went out on a limb and said biggest turnaround in history till he figured out that Boston had a 42 win in history, and he said that he doesn't think we can win 59. But in saying that, it reminds me of sort of what we felt towards last year's Detroit Lions team. Right. And hopefully it works out. So, so definitely after the draft, you got to be looking at the pieces in the right places. And you hear Troy Weaver and you see when he's dropping, Halle Berry mixes and stuff. My man likes himself right now, and that's what you want out of your GM. Hey, you know what else you want? Got to get somewhere and get those reps in, Spenny. Where are you going?
Obviously, you got to go to Planet Fitness. You want to get in shape like Ausar Thompson, because Planet Fitness is the home of the judgment-free zone, where you can get your workout in starting at $10 a month, or you can upgrade to the Black Card for $24.99 and get use of all the amenities. And if you're a high school student, age 14 to 19, you can work out for free until August 31st because of the high school summer pass, and enter for a chance to win a piece of $200,000 that Planet Fitness is giving away. All you have to do is film a TikTok video of you explaining the high school summer pass, use a couple hashtags, tag Planet Fitness, and you'll get your chance to win. You can find out more at planetfitness.com, where you can sign up for your membership, or you can pull into any Planet Fitness around the state to get your membership there. It's Planet Fitness, Darren McCarty, where?
Planet Fitness, where your fitness is essential.
We don't like to brag that we are the toughest sports network in Detroit, but we do have a guy named Darren McCarty on our side. Woodward Sports.
At work and at home. We're there with smarter security solutions, featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
A ton of fun, a ton of sports, and a ton of man meat. Welcome to the Woodward Heavyweights, live daily 5 to 7 p.m. on Woodward Sports.
Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network. Happy Friday to everyone. Wow, June 23rd already.
It's pretty
wild. Hey, got a nice little rain outside, for the flowers, for everybody's flowers. You don't like it?
I guess we need it, huh?
We need it, man. I'm the golfer in the group, and you know what? I've sacrificed. I'm sitting in here instead of being out in the golf course today because Neil's got to be up north golfing. Darren, McCarty, Lindsay, Hunter in for Neil Rule, Sam Flannel, Spenmo Rocks, talking Pistons, talking, in the right direction. I think that we can all agree. Now it's about getting those dogs out there, playing some defense, and if it matters to anybody, Lindsay Hunter thinks that Monty Williams is the biggest difference for the team this year, and he says 15 wins.
Yeah, I think he's a 15-win addition, easy.
Well, and why wouldn't he be if he implements any bit of defense?
God,
right?
I mean,
worst in the league last year.
We saw our defense last year. I mean, our lack thereof. So he's going to come in with a definitive plan, definitive structure. And we're going to see a difference, And I know we didn't talk about Sasser a lot, but, man, I absolutely love that kid. I watched him in college, at Houston. I actually, was at a couple of their practices before, and I absolutely love him. Matter of fact, I watched his brother play. I think his brother played at, SMU.
Oh, really?
Yeah. His older brother played at SMU. And this kid is a stud.
Really?
Yeah.
What makes him a stud in Lindsay Hunter's mind?
I mean, he's just such a beast on both ends of the court. He could score the ball. He could shoot it. He can defend. If you watch Houston play anything, they're going to defend their butts off. And he was their guy. He got injured last year throughout the tournament, so they struggled. But they were supposed to be a Final Four team. They were easily could have been in the championship game had he been healthy.
Right.
But I think he's a steal. He's a steal, and hopefully everything works out for him, and he can be on the floor, building a reputation and earning some minutes.
How often, and maybe this is a little off topic or off track, but it's Friday, who gives a shit? How often do you see guys that you say, oh, they could have played when I played, or could have and what I mean by that, and I don't mean disrespect, but Lindsay and I, when we played 25 years ago, basketball and hockey were different, and it was sort of that's whatever the man's game mantra. It was more physical. Yep. The rules were more barbaric, right?
Yes.
There's different things. How often do you look at kids getting drafted or see that dog, in them or something and it's not I don't mean it disrespectfully. It's just the game's changed. It's just the analogy of could have you handled it or could have played that way. So when you do see it, it makes you jump out of your seat a little bit more. But how often is it more limited? Because what I notice, is yes, I might not see it initially, but then as the career goes on, or then to the work ethic or what they put in, the ups and downs, and mostly it's who gets kicked in the nuts early and keeps coming back.
Exactly.
Because isn't that the old school mentality?
Yes. I mean, and I know it's always going to be, somebody's always going to look at a D-Mac as disrespect when we say, hey, could a guy have existed when we played? And it's not disrespect. It's just like you said, rules have changed. Guys didn't get kicked out of games for throwing punches you know, back in the day. It was just, you fought and, hey, referees cleared it up. Let's get back to hooping. You know, now.
Was there, let's stay on this subject. Was there one, because if you didn't go back and listen to Lindsay talking about Rasheed Wallace telling the ref he hope his restaurant burned down, getting a technical, but how about on like fights or like that, like was there any like good ones that you remember, or like, because usually like in hockey fights or whatever, like you're going to get yours or you're going to give a guy. In basketball, it doesn't seem a lot of times, but sometimes there is.
Yeah, but
guy get his ass beat.
Because it's so, you know, guys break it up so fast. You know.
But back in the day.
But we always said this, and I always lived by this. I'm like, I knew the guys that were going to fight, and I knew guys that didn't want to fight. You know? And
yeah.
Because my approach has always been, if a guy had a problem with me, I would quietly walk up to him and I would say to him, hey, you got a problem, we can meet after the game. You know, I'll be waiting in the hallway, or we can meet in the parking lot if you really got a problem. And most guys, when you say that to them, they look at you and go, oh, I'm cool. So you knew guys that, you know.
Absolutely.
You knew if somebody really wanted to fight. And my dad always told me, if you really want to fight somebody, call them somewhere where it's just you and them.
Yeah.
And you'll find out if they really want to fight.
Absolutely.
So it's not many guys in the NBA that really wanted to fight. Now, I happen to be on a team full of them. We all wanted to fight.
Who is the?
They gotta be
who
dead
is the most volatile? Like, was it Sheed or like who is the one? No.
She wasn't. She was the one.
She was the mouthy one, and
outwardly he was the more volatile one.
Right.
But Ben was really the most volatile one.
Hell yeah.
Ben Wallace.
Yes.
How did he make it into the hall? Dude, maybe we should let Ben get hands on Sam and just rip him old school. Like, would Ben get mad?
Yes. I've witnessed Ben getting into it with a player. I'm not going to call that player's name. I'm going to give y'all the story, though. So we're in Philly, and
check the Philly roster. Check the Philly roster. I'm going name for name. Sam Flannel, get on it. We'll get this. Anyway,
so one of the players said something disrespectful to Ben on the court.
Like disrespectful, like about to him disrespectful, like something like
he called him a female dog.
He called him a biatch. He called Ben Wallace a biatch. Sam Flannel, we do know that no matter what blasphemy about Ben Wallace comes out, we do not call him that. Correct?
Correct.
Okay, good. I cannot save your life on that one.
So Ben was pissed, and
And did it come from a guy that what you didn't respect too? Which makes it worse. Like if it came from a bitch. If the bitch comes from a bitch, oh my God, gonna lose it right now. So Ben,
so Ben, the game ends. He goes in the locker room, doesn't go to the shower, throws his clothes on, tennis shoes on. I'm like, oh shit.
Did you say doesn't go in the shower?
Yeah, no, straight to his clothes, like do. I'm like, oh, we gotta hurry up. we got a problem. So Ben is gone. We're getting dressed, getting our stuff. We're walking out, and all we see is Ben sitting on someone's car, sitting on the hood of their car. The guy walks up trying to talk to Ben, and we see a massive straight right to the face. Pow! Busted lip, everything. Split open. We get Ben back. We get on the bus, and I'm like, dang! Why you do the dude like that? He should have kept his mouth closed. I'm like, yeah, you got a point.
Did anybody ever call Ben Wallace? How fast did that get around the league?
Real fast.
Like, and was this in cell phone days?
Yeah,
it was. But
nobody.
Did he leave a dent in the car when he sat on it?
He left a dent in his mouth. Though he split all this open.
Absolutely.
Split it open, man. And Ben got those Alabama country strong wood gripping hands. Like, so you know when he hits you, it's like a plumber hitting you in the face.
Listen, I've been hit in the face by a few of those. That's no good.
So, man.
It's like getting slapjack with a friggin' cookie sheet.
I'll tell you, there's one.
So Now, did this happen pre-championship or post-championship? Like, did the word travel fast? Because that happens one time. After that to whatever.
That.
Now, was there no fine, nothing?
No, this didn't happen. This happened in the parking lot.
I understand, but the league didn't get involved.
No,
whatever
nope.
like that.
Mano y manu.
Let's start guessing chat thread. Who was that Philadelphia player? Let's go. Get your names in. Pre-draft. Let's get pictures of them and see who's got a split face in half. So that was the best, and just one punch, right? Guy went down and
Ben Wallace hit him, bro. And I actually saved Charlie Ward's life.
You did.
He owes me. I saved his life.
Charlie Ward, former quarterback, Florida State,
point guard for New York Knicks.
Yeah.
So we were playing them once, and Charlie, somebody was shooting free throws, and he was standing next to Ben, and he ran and boxed out and hit Ben in the knees. And Ben was like, "Yo, watch my knees, man." And Charlie was like, "Shut up." Oh my God. Here we go again. We go to the locker room. Ben doesn't shower. He puts his clothes on straight to the hallway. And I rushed this time. I said, "Man, I gotta save Charlie. Charlie's a good dude."
Yeah.
He just probably got beside himself when he said that to Ben.
He was speaking out of school.
Right. So I go out and Ben is standing there. Charlie's coming. Ben puts his backpack down. Said, "Now what you was saying out there on the floor?" And I'm like, "Dude, if he hits Charlie, Charlie's dead." There's no surviving
Charlie,
this.
little guy.
Yeah, there's no surviving this for you, dude. So I'm like, "Body, just let him live, bro. Let him live." And he looked, and he was like, "You lucky today."
You lucky Lindsay boy.
Dude, I saved his life, man. He was gonna kill Charlie.
I love it. You know what? In my Hall of Fame, Ben Wallace goes up a higher notch there. Don't mess with Ben Wallace and undrafted. But you know what? Sounds like Ben Wallace, Guardian Alarm, two of the same things. Guardian Alarm will punch you right in the mouth and protecting whatever you have. So let Guardian Alarm offer you customized solutions from real expert professional technicians. Take the time to recommend security automation solutions specific to your needs. But I need you to call Guardian Alarm. The number today, 1-800.
Stay out.
24/7 professional monitoring. Call anytime, day or night, and know that a Guardian team member will stay on the phone as long as it's needed. But I need you to call the number, 1-800.
Stay out.
Technology backed by people. Yes, real Homo sapien people. Your safety and security deserves technology that's been proven to work and people who have been proven to care. That's Guardian Alarm. How do I know? You know. How many straight days of flannel protecting that guy? Sam flannel wearing. How many straight days, Sam?
303.
Woo! 303 straight days. They are unbiased. Business, personal, whatever you need protected. Guardian Alarm. They'll be there for you, but you got to call them. Here's the number, 1-800.
Stay out.
Ausar Thompson haters. He's going to be fine.
Stay out of talking shit to Ben Wallace, anybody in the NBA.
Get those hands, big guy. Guardian Alarm. Your local security actors, they'll punch you just like Ben Wallace. Tell them Big D Energy. We sent you.
Can't get enough Woodward Sports content? Head over to woodwardsports.com right now for up-to-date sports articles and great entertainment news. We have the best writers, bloggers, and coverage all at your fingertips. Head to woodwardsports.com right now to experience all Woodward Sports has to offer.
Big Boy Strawberry Fest has officially arrived, and we're here to show you the very best flavors of the season. Satisfy your sweet tooth with our deep-fried vanilla Oreos, strawberry hot fudge cake, and a slice of our classic strawberry pie. But that's not all. Cool off on a refreshing summer splash salad, or savor the flavors of our chicken Caesar wrap and strawberry bacon chicken wrap. And for breakfast lovers, don't miss out on our strawberry hotcakes or our mouth-watering red velvet waffle. Strawberry Fest is something for everyone. Celebrate the sweet season with us at Big Boy.
You have an opinion? Make sure it's seen and heard. Tweet us, hop on the YouTube chat, slide in the DMS at Woodward Sports on all social media.
Here we are, back off and running, hitting the top of the noon hour. Big D Energy, Darren McCarty, Lindsay Hunter. Yes, we have 6 world championships, big trophies between us. Venmo rocks, Sam Flannel, they do not. Spenny's close, Sam
I got a Division III.
Sam's the closest one at Woodward Sports to getting the Ben Wallace right. If you did not hear about the most lethal, now I'm looking in the chat thread. Who are your guesses? Philadelphia guys. Let's go. I need a roster lineup. Lindsay won't tell you, but we're going to do a few nickel packages. It is Friday, but maybe we'll get back to telling a few more stories. I like those. That was fun.
That was fun.
Spenny, let's start. Detroit Lions on a Friday, June 23rd. How many days until opening day? How many days before our Detroit Lions are going to kick the snot out of Sam Flannel's Kansas City Chiefs in at Arrowhead? Yes, going down. Patty Mahomes, 3 picks, 2 to Kirby Joseph, 1 to C.J. Gardner-Johnson.
I love it.
What do you say, Sam? What do you say?
I mean, I just want the Lions to win. That's all.
Sure.
Okay. Whatever.
Sure you do.
Anyways, I haven't been here on a Friday. You guys have been rocking and rolling with the nickel packages. These are always fun. Why don't we start out with the Lions? Spend more racks.
All right.
The floor is yours.
First question of the Detroit Lions nickel package for you guys. How big of a step are you expecting Aiden Hutchinson to take next season?
I'll start here, Lindsay. You know what? This is fanboy Sam Flannel's guy. It's been his guy since day one. You know, he's the opposite of Scott Frost in his take, where actually he's been riding the coattails and emerging. Everything I see and I hear out of Aiden Hutchinson, improving speed. This guy's got the dog in him. Hutchinson's got that dog in him. He wants to be great. Local kid. I mean, there's a lot of things. Double-digit sacks, yes, absolutely. And it's more just the effectiveness, right? Because what is the effectiveness of Aiden Hutchinson we saw last year? Met the improvement in not outrunning. You know, he got out of being that college and just using athleticism. The coaching will help. No, he's. I'm not going to go and say all pro, but he's Pro Bowl. Pro Bowl guy, stays healthy for sure.
Yeah, I agree. I think we'll see big steps from him, and as the other guys improve, also as the defensive line improves, then that's also going to help him, because it won't be so much attention just drawn to him, because he's becoming one of those guys. You know, he's becoming one of those guys that every other team is like, we got to pay attention to him. He's going to, you know, smash our quarterback. We have to. You know, but the more the other guys improve, the better he's going to be.
You mentioned it, because what do we want him to be? You know, we want him to be the guy that gets double teamed. But when we do that, because we got the Houstons and the Pascals and the other guys, the Campbells and these guys that can pick it up. You mentioned it too. You mentioned the Kobe Bryant. His shots off. What's he going to do? The intangibles. Right. You know, that's what the stars do. So to answer your question, improvement and into that next elite level. Question 2.
Next question of the Lions nickel package. Who will lead this team in interceptions?
Go ahead, Lindsay.
I don't know. I don't know who's going to lead them in interceptions.
You got the odds-on favors Kirby Joseph because he's a ball hawk. But do you think like C.J. Gardner-Johnson? How many here's the question then. How many interceptions does the top?
What are the top teams like interceptions, like the best defensive? What are they doing? What are their numbers look like?
7.
Yeah, the league leader is tied for 6 last year.
So if our defensive line can pressure and get our guys, you know, get quarterbacks to hurry and do all that stuff, I think we can be right under the league leaders. I don't know which guy will lead us, but I think defensive wise we could be right amongst the league leaders.
I think the odds, you know, the minus bet would be Kirby Joseph just because the ball follows him around. But I think that, you know, C.J. Gardner-Johnson coming in. Yeah, but could it be Cam Sutton too? I think what you're going to see is the combination, right? The pressure of up front getting the interceptions, and then the glue of the secondary improving, especially on third down, adds to the sacks.
And I always like with D-backs, because I always think it's not always the best D-back that gets the interception, because most of the time the guys that can cover well, they don't get thrown at. So I always look at it that way. I'm like, man, he's supposed to be so great. He only has 4 interceptions. Well, his guy's not getting separation. So they're not throwing that way. So that's how I kind of look at it. That's, you know, we look at some of the greats, like we look at Deion Sanders, and people always say, well, he doesn't tackle or he doesn't. Well, Deion, nobody threw that way. He's on vacation, standing out there talking to the receivers. Nobody ever threw that way, you know? So that's how I kind of look at it, and hopefully our guys can cover like that.
No, absolutely, and I think that's what the improvement has come. Number three,
third question of the Lions nickel package. Who will have more all-purpose yards, rushing and receiving, David Montgomery or Jahmyr Gibbs?
Wow.
I'm going Gibbs, man.
You're going Gibbs?
Gibbs is a stud. I like Gibbs a lot.
No, I like Gibbs too. What do you got Montgomery as bell cow in it and stuff like this? Out of the backfield, that's where the receiving yards
Right.
and. Let me just do my math, even though I didn't play. Running, catch. It's easier to catch more yards than it is to run more yards, so I'll go Gibbs too.
I like it. Next question of the Lions nickel package. How much will missing Jameson Williams for 6 weeks hurt this team?
It's going to hurt Sam Flannel in the first 6 weeks when he's buying me coffee because TK85's in there going deep, taking the thing. My Ross St. Brown is expanding his route tree and stuff. I think the thing that it hurts is his progress. Because he's not out there. And whatever else. And I don't care how in shape and how much running you're not in the game situation. So even if it takes him a few games to get back into it, when are you getting full speed J.M.O. Williams? The last 5-6 weeks of the season. That's all. I think that the biggest thing, I think that the Lions have done a great job in putting the pieces around Jared Goff, the receiving core. I like what they're going to have without Williams in. It's his progress that I think it hurts, right? Because he's not in there.
Right.
That's what's going to stunt. So I still have faith in him. Hopefully this is just an early career, something that he can look back on and say he learned from. But so the last 6 weeks is going to take him and take time to get acclimated.
I'm curious to see how the offensive unit is formed. Like what's their identity going to be? Because Jared Goff doesn't really go downfield as much as I think people would like him to, and I think having that threat. I still don't think he's going to take a gang of shots downfield. I think he's going to be who he is. We've watched him over the years. He's been really good, on time, on target. But very rarely he's gonna just, go for the home run. He doesn't do that a lot. I think Jameis allows him to do that, but I think it won't hurt him not having him because he's gonna play the way he plays.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like Big Dan Davis, Woodward Sports. I don't think Jameis' absence hurts the team as much as it hurts Jameis' development. Our wide receiver core will be. Boom, you and me.
Right.
On point. Number 5.
All right, final question of the Lions nickel package. What is your sack total prediction for James Houston next year? Jackson State alum.
Jackson State's finest.
That they built some athletes out of there. Now, speaking of, were you aware of him, because he's from your alma mater and stuff? And so you knew all this. The shenanigans that he was all about and how low he gets and talk about dog, right?
Yes.
And here's the story too with him because his perseverance wasn't almost didn't he get caught, re-signed and stuff like this? So, but that's your dog, dude.
Did it the hard way, man. Did it the hard way. I hope he can get about. Let's hope he can get like 8 sacks this year. Can he get 8?
I think he can. I think if they figure it out, right? Because even how many snaps do you need him for? Because as effective that he is, and he only makes the other side more effective. Right. That's a good question. I think. Now we're assuming that he's playing regularly, right? What do we assume? 30 snaps a game, 40 snaps a game. Is that right? Stuff like that. Because when you have him in there, it's unlike anything else. Is there another guy just with people haven't figured out how to get low with the gravity and the way that he comes. I mean, it's ninja-esque. So, I think 8's right there. But if you were gonna ask me to go over under, I'd go over.
Yeah,
I just
would
think
too.
until somebody proves that you could sort of stop him.
Right.
And you mentioned a huge thing earlier, Lindsay. Right? It doesn't matter if he's getting there. Somebody's going to be getting there.
Get there.
Right?
Yeah.
And when that defensive line takes it on that my sack is all of our sacks. Right? And it's collective sacks. And yeah, these guys will get the shine. And then you want the shine to be to Hutchinson and Houston and when the other guys know that, that's when you succeed. What about you guys? You got where are you at? I know you guys are Houston lovers, but you right around there? Do you think it's more than that, Sam?
I think it's going to be, I say 10.5, just because he's going to get more snaps than he did last year. He only played in 7 games last season and had 8 sacks. I think he just has so much upside as a pass rusher, and hopefully this season he impacts the run game as well so he can play more snaps. But I definitely have over 8. I've got 10.5.
Okay.
Yeah, I like Sam with that too. I think he'll be in double digits. We saw what he did last year, and what he had 8 sacks in 7 games. Like the guy, or 7 sacks in 7 games. Like the guy's a monster. Hutchinson's gonna get a lot of double teams. He's gonna have free reign, and he's gonna make it happen.
Love it. When we come back from the break, we're gonna crack open. It's a Friday. Sportsbook time. Spenny Sportsbook, and just perusing it. We got a few good questions all throughout Detroit sports with some of our people, but tell them about SMA.
I will. SMA, or the Sports Marketing Agency, it helps spread awareness about mental health and substance abuse. Their new podcast, This is the S Word, helps fight the stigma about seeking help. So if you or someone you know is struggling, make sure you head to thesportsma.com and get the help you deserve.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids, all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
Introducing the Planet Fitness Guide to getting that post-workout glow. Step 1. What's your why? More epic energy? Better sleep? Blow off steam? Step 2. Join Planet Fitness for just $10 a month and get moving in our clean and spacious clubs. Step 3. Bask in that post-workout glow. Join Planet Fitness today for just $10 a month.
Join today at any of the 50-plus Detroit area locations.
We aren't quite sure if they consume more beer or sports. Either way, the heavyweights are here. Live on Woodward Sports, daily 5 to 7 p.m.
Woodward Sports Network back here. Lindsay Hunter in for Neil Rule, Darren McCarty, Sam Flannel, Spenmo Rats, getting through some of our nickel packages. Now we're going to the Spenny Sportsbook for all you gamblers. And yes, shout out to Neil Rule again, 43-13, taking the Tigers the other day. We'll talk Tigers next segment. Are you buying or selling? But right now, speaking of buying or selling, Spenny, you got some bets. Over-under bets.
I got some over-under bets.
Well, here we go.
The Spenny Sportsbook is open, and the first one we have for you guys, over-under 13.5 points per game for Ausar Thompson next season.
Oof. 13.5, you say?
13.5.
That's a lot for a young guy with a rookie. Well, I mean, I don't know, Lindsay. I mean, you're wrestling with it.
Yeah,
so
because we don't know, like,
is the league that easy
playing
these days?
time, and we don't know how much he's gonna, if he's gonna start, if he's coming off the bench. I'm gonna go under.
Yeah, I think that, safety-wise, obviously, if it's over, then there's, progress being made. But I don't think, as far as age group, the biggest thing to me is just practicing playing with men. Right? You got to be around men. Mm-hmm. So I know summer ball and stuff like this, but just, give them some time. Don't have that expectations. More so, it's like wait and see what the minutes are.
Yes.
Right? Like how is he being used? Maybe the fact that you need him to get 7 rebounds is more important than him getting 13 points, right?
Right.
If you're trying to, make that transition.
I think he'll average double digits, but I don't think. That's. I think he'll average 10, 11 points a game.
Okay.
Especially if he plays.
But
anticipating.
You're hemming and hawing tells me it's not out of the realm for him to hit that 13. If he's getting minutes and if he's proving whatever like that.
Right. If he's getting minutes,
a little excessive to early on.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
A little excessive early on. We both went on.
That's fair. Next one. Next Spenny Sportsbook over-under. Over-under 32.5 wins for Ville Husso next season. He had 26 last year.
Wow. That's so you're gonna go with Ville Husso as your number one, right? One of the things that I think that when we were talking here about the NBA and the rookie wall that you run into.
Yes.
Well, goaltending walls too. Like last year was the first for Ville Husso to sort of play the whole season. What was his record? 26 and
17, I believe.
Right. So played 50, which. Learning how to carry the load a little bit more. If he carries the load and this team's a playoff team and he's their number one guy, it has to be over, right? It has to be,
26 and 22.
26 and 48 games. But if he's your 1A and you're going to be a playoff team, he's going to have to play 55, 60 games, and he's going to have to win 35 to 40 games. That's not out of the question for him if he can make that ascension. If you remember, Steve Yzerman came out, and the word that he used, we have to address our goaltending situation, which means not Billy specifically, but who's backing him up and what are they going to do there. I think he's capable of it, but this is a year for him to put up, and if we're going to ride the Husso wave, this is for him. Take the bull by the horns. So I'm going to say over. I'm going to say over.
I like it. I'm going to go over as well. I think he's... Like I said, I think he's going to step up. It has to be over. It has to be over.
Unless he's not your number one.
Yeah, I think he'll be the number one, and I think he'll be over. I don't think Coast is ready to come up just yet, so I think they're sticking with Ville next year. Next one, over under 11.5 wins for the Detroit Lions next season.
Lindsay Hunter. Hey. 17 games, add another game. Oh, I know Lindsay's answer. Super Bowl, baby.
If all the hype is real and all the things that we're seeing is real, you gotta go over. Nobody in here should say under. No, we gotta go over, right?
12 wins? It's not as
12 and 5, 11 and So you're saying 10 and 7 gets you the playoffs?
Yeah.
Right? So 11 and 5. So it's that scared not stoked. Stoked not scared goes 12 all day. Right? The playoffs is the big answer. Can they win 12 games? Or are they more to be 11 and 5? Do you have them 5 and 1 again in this division, or do you have them 4 and 2? Like, where are you at? It's 11 or 12.
Hey man,
you're stoked, baby. And because Lindsay's
over.
stoked, I'm gonna go over too.
Gotta go over.
Gotta go over.
I had them right at 11 when I broke down their schedule, so that's a tough one for me. Over under 1.5 Tigers finish the season with 20 plus home runs.
Which where are the leaders at right now? Is Jake Rogers still leading with 7, or did Kerry Carpenter?
Let me see. All right, as of today, the leaders for the Tigers in home runs is Jake Rogers with 9, Torkelson with 8, Vierling with 7.
How many games have been played?
There has been 40, 50, 73 games played.
Okay, so you got
leader is
90 games left to hit 10, no way 1.5. They'll be lucky that 1 gets there. Maybe 1 crawls to 20, right? But I can't see unless they go on a power surge, that more than 1 gets there, right? I could see Torque getting hot and hitting 20, 21, or Rogers playing, with the way that he is, but not playing every day. So I don't know. Anybody have any other hope? Sam, even you?
I would probably I think Spencer Torkelson has to hit over 20, or else this season will be, I don't want to say a disaster, but disappointing, because he has shown great power at times. Your other hope is Jake Rogers, but the problem is he's hitting under 200, so you can't play someone who hits that poorly every day. So I think it will be just Spencer Torkelson. That's why I will go under.
And for reference, the league leader in home runs, none other than the GOAT. I'm already putting him up there. He is the GOAT. Shohei Ohtani.
He is the GOAT.
24 home runs. And
Dude,
he struck out 12 guys
and,
last night.
And what?
And he struck out 12 guys last night.
And what's his pitching record?
Let me see.
I want to say 7-2, but you can confirm that.
Lindsay, what about that? The pitch, he's not only the Cy Young, he's like the MVP.
He's a monster.
He's got it all.
Yeah, he was a monster. He's a
Have you
rarity.
seen him play live?
I've watched the highlights, and I've watched, because everybody was talking about him so much. I'm like, who is this guy? And I was like,
he's a show dog. That's what he is. Unbelievable. 24, and you got
He's
9.
6-3.
6-3
with a 3.13 ERA.
Who would have thought Flannel would have, Flannel would have small fib there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, my bad. But his last loss, he had 7 innings, 1 earned run allowed, and 12 strikeouts. So that was one of those tough luck losses. But still, he is, I agree with you, Spenny, the best baseball player who has ever walked on planet Earth.
Yes.
No doubt about it.
I agree. It's disgusting, the stuff he does. All right, final question from the Spenny Sportsbook. Over under 6.5 touchdowns for Amon-Ra St. Brown next year. 6.5.
I'm going over.
He's going over with that new route tree and everything. All this stuff, the expansion, all this. You're sold.
I'm going over. He's adding some new routes to his route tree. That's going to give him 2 or 3 more touchdowns. Hey, I'm going over.
Well, it goes without. You know what? I'm going to say over too. I think he's got between 7 and 10. Honestly, I always felt like Laporta's got 8 or 9 in him. He's going to lead this team, and that's the succession. But really, Amon-Ra St. Brown, excuse me. I don't really look at him as for touchdowns as much, right? It's that possession. It's that getting it down there. It's doing all the dirty work, and then letting somebody else share the glory in the end zone, right? So, If he is over, he's as effective with the fact that what we broke yesterday as far as expanding the route tree with Randall. That's more important to me. If it leads to touchdowns, that's cool. But I'll say over still.
Yeah.
Cool with it. And that was the Spenny Sportsbook.
I love the Spenny Sportsbook. Which how many going back to how many home runs does Ohtani hit this year?
24.
No.
Oh,
how many does he hit? How many does he finish? The season, right? We're and this
60.
is right where you're fighting for your
60.
team. Where you're fighting, he's 50 for sure, right? 50, 50,
He's halfway there.
50,
He's still got
55. But you're
60?
fighting for your league leader in home runs to reach 20.
Yeah.
Sort of tells you where you're at, doesn't it?
Shohei already has, with 90 games to go, more home runs than the leader for the Tigers will hit this year, for sure. No Tiger will reach 24.
That's the question. Will any Tiger reach? Will it even hit 24 home runs?
No. I think Torque will get to 22. Maybe Carpenter, if he stays hot, can get to 20.
If he stays hot, he stays healthy, right? He's got some power, stuff like that, but it's being consistent and things like that. I mean, real quick, with the Tigers, are you still there? Do you win? Is it? Where are you at with them? Is it window? Do you pay attention? Do you care? It's like driving down the highway and you sort of see that, wow, what's that out there? And stuff oh, now I can turn back.
I try, man. I try hard to watch them. Because I'm a fan of all of our sports teams, so I try, man. It's baseball to me, man. It has to be something going on. The steroid era, that was hellacious.
Which, you know what, Lindsay, I got to
bring back steroids.
Right. Well, here's the thing, right, which you should have. How do you not have asterisks in Hall of Fames to tell the stories years from now it's omitted. Right? Like if I go back and I'm here 100 years, somebody's here 100 years from now going to the baseball, if the world's still around, whatever, and looking at the history, and you miss out on all that stuff. You know that McGuire Sosa stuff was unbelievable.
Man, it was,
we were locked
everybody
in.
was running home to watch all of them play every night.
All of them.
Yes, it was exciting.
As Spenny said, bring back steroids. To baseball, but you know what? I got something for you. How would you like to win a new vehicle for you and a friend? That's right, a new car for you and your wife, girlfriend, or best bud. Just get to a Lady Jane's and automatically register for your chance to win, courtesy of Les Stanford Buick, GMC of Ferndale. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
Since the dawn of moving people, Chevrolet has led the way. The world of transportation is changing. At Feldman Chevrolet, we are leading the charge forward. With every electric vehicle, every mile traveled, one Feldman at a time. The company that puts more Chevys on Michigan roads is now the #1 name for Chevy electric vehicles.
The only sports network in Detroit that starts with a W. You know, because we win. Woodward Sports, Detroit's winning sports network.
Here we are, Friday, Woodward Sports Network. Darren McCarty, Lindsay Hunter, in for Neil Rule, who is on about his third high noon right now on the golf course. Sam Flannel, Spen Morax, talking obviously NBA draft. And Ausar Thompson, one of the twins. I thought if you didn't catch it, you can go back anywhere you catch Woodward Sports Network, Spotify, Apple. What's the other one?
Spreaker.
Streaker with a spree. Spreaker, leave a 5-star.
5-star.
It's funny how I'm big into karma, big into the universe. And Spenny, you told the people at the beginning with the twins, the Thompson brothers, that one of them a few years ago thought that Jalen Green should have went 1. The other one thought the Pistons should have went 1. Well, both of them got their wish to play with those guys, and little things like that. Obviously, a little bit to be excited. Right. The direction the Pistons are going. Do you like? Lindsay, as a former Piston, right? Not even just a basketball guy, but pride in the organization and stuff like this. Is this what it came to me with the Red Wings, and it wasn't until Steve Yzerman sort of came back where it was like, it's going to be all right. Don't know what it means. It's going to be all right. He's going to get the pieces in place. Now, it took a lot of time. We broke it down, salary cap, draft capital, getting guys off the roster, this. But it really feels now, as I've said, the clock went off with the Wings. This is huge. I think Stevie's going to cook next week in the draft. All the things that he's saying means that he's prepared to go to war, and I think everybody else knows he's going to make a study because he doesn't talk. He's the type of guy that doesn't say those things just to say them.
Right.
He's not going to say it or say anything unless he's going to do it. So I'm real comfortable, right, with the direction that my organization is. I even have hashtag Wiser Plan 1919. Everybody else S the FU,
Right.
He's gonna get it done. Are you there with where the Pistons are at? Was it the hiring of Monty? Because you're pointing to the fact that that's 15 wins, bro, just by the coach. Is it you finally that's being a former Piston? Because we have this pride in getting this thing right.
Absolutely. That was the calming factor for me when they hired Monty. I felt like that was okay. Now we've righted the ship. We're headed in the right direction. We got the right captain in place, and now we just have to give him the proper pieces to assemble a championship caliber team. And I think everybody's kind of feeling that way now. I was down at the draft party at the LCA last night, and everybody was excited. Everybody is excited when we drafted the twin. Everybody went crazy. Drafted Sasser. Everybody went crazy. So we're in a good place right now. We just have to continue to build, get our young guys some experience, maybe throw in a couple of veterans that have won and can kind of help our guys understand what it takes, and we'll be fine.
So, and I guess that's the thing, right? So I'm looking to next Wednesday for the NHL draft before free agency. The next thing for the Pistons, like with the way that the team's coming together or what they're doing, and not specific guys, so to speak, but do you see the writing on the wall of what they're trying to add? And you said that locker room guy. There's a big reason, the explanation of why they didn't move Bojan Bogdanovic at the trade deadline is probably for now, right? Because they knew what they were going to get into. And isn't he that guy as far as the shooter guy, but that veteran shooter guy being around, just thinking young guys around a guy who knows how to do it, a true pro?
Right. I think he brings an element of that. But his main thing is he can shoot the crap out the ball. Like in today's game, man, you see guys like Duncan Robinson signed for $90 million, and he can't out-dribble me right now, but he can shoot the cover off the ball. So that is gonna always be a need, and that's why you see those guys. They sign big deals, and they're gonna be on teams, Now, defensively, they may be a bit liable at times, but teams are willing to risk that, and hopefully their foundation is good enough that, hey, as long as you know where to be, and you can function defensively if you can shoot the ball well enough. And Bogey's one of those guys, who knows what else, is going to happen in between now and the season start. But as of now, he's an asset for us.
Now, is it realistic of we're looking to, free agency and stuff like that? There's some guys that might come back that have been here before. Are there guys? Is there anybody out there that you think would add to this team, or we're so close to the draft we haven't looked to that yet?
Well, I've heard some rumblings of what's the guy? He was here before. I think he's in
Tobias Harris.
Tobias, yeah. But I know he has a big sticker, doesn't he?
Mm-hmm. $39 million next year.
So I don't know how that'll work out.
Yeah, but different guys, but sort of not against it. So from what I'm hearing from you is that the Monty Williams was you're my Steve Eisman. Okay, now let's just see how it plays out. But at least there's an adult. You feel like there's more of an adult or the direction in the room.
Absolutely.
See, my big thing too with the coaches and stuff like that. Does their message get across, right? Like, and the guys that you played for, the different coaches from Larry to whoever, right? But they have to be able to communicate, right? Different guys, like who is some of the best communicators, like to understand? Because I know that if I get my order and I know exactly what I need to do, but also too, hey, that message needs to get to him. This message needs to get to him. Were there great communicators?
Well, I think Larry was the best at it because he was just so blunt and like he talked to all of us the same way, like from Rashid to Ben to Chauncey to Rip to Tay. I mean, Larry was just that guy. Like,
don't give a
and we loved it.
Yeah,
we loved it.
What is something about Larry Brown that people don't know, like, or don't understand? It's like the man himself, because he cut.
Well, he is like, he eats, sleeps, breathes basketball. Dude, he just I think he went and he's coaching again. Like, he just signed
How
to go
old is
coach.
he, 80?
Man, yeah, he's like 90 and he wants to coach. Like, he just signed on to coach at Washington or somewhere as an assistant.
So
like,
he's one of those guys that.
No, he left Memphis.
Oh.
Yeah, he left Memphis and now he's back at it again. I'm like,
yeah, Washington.
He cannot stop coaching, man. I'm a junkie. I'm a basketball junkie all day, every day. He's a junkie, like
a lifer, like
yes.
To the nth degree.
Like he would be, if he was in Detroit right now, he'd be somewhere in a gym teaching a little kid footwork. You know what I'm saying? Like that's Larry Brown in a nutshell. Like he loves it, man. He loves it.
That's that's something that you see,
Yeah.
and it's not like that's the one thing. If he's doing it, it's because, and you've met guys like this. If they don't do it, they'll probably die.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Like that's what keeps them going.
That keeps them
you
going.
You see that in a lot of whatever. That's sort of like his life marriage.
Yes.
That keeps him motivated, keeps him going. Now, when like he's got to be sharp still.
Oh yeah. Basketball is like second. It's like a second language for him.
What's one of the things like for me, I always say to Scotty Bowman hockey, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're allowed to make a mistake. You're not allowed to make that mistake again, especially if I tell you don't ever do that again. Right? So you know what I'm saying? That's how we sort of learn. Like in a nutshell, that's sort of Scotty's mentality. Hey, okay, no problem. Don't ever do that again, or you're not going to. Like, how is Larry Brown? Like, what are some of the Larry Brown nuggets that he taught you?
I'm telling you, his genius was in his simplicity. Like,
say that again for the people at home, because I think that
his genius was in his simplicity, because he looked at basketball fundamentally like you're gonna do everything fundamentally right. Like, I don't care how great you are, who you are. Fundamentally, like when we run certain plays, he told Rip once. Rip came off a pin down and he caught it and he threw it to the roll guy. The guy got a dunk. He kept doing it. And so one time Rip was like, okay, we keep getting the same, I'm going to do something different. Larry was like, timeout. Why would you do this? Why would you do something different? And Rip was like, well, no, it works that way. Do it every single time. Like, no, don't defer from what works. That's how he was, man. Like, and we heard it over and over. And the mantra he had, play the right way. Like, we heard that every day. Play the right way. We heard it every single practice, every game. That was him. And he never deferred from it. So you had to respect it. You're like, dude, he's not going to change.
And then when push came to shove, when you had to revert back to your training, right?
Yep.
You guys played the right way.
Every single time. And that's...
You play to win the game.
Yeah, you do. And nothing, guys, nothing's more annoying or irritating than on the mundane to do it over and over again, but it's the training, and that's the thing, and that's the dog to be able to do that. It's to be able to mentally know that you need to do that.
And see, and what you just said, man, I talk about that to young kids all the time, because young kids that are trying to develop, and all these new trainers, I'm not knocking anybody, do what you do. If that floats your boat, that's just not me. I don't do the bells and I don't do the whistles and I don't do all the crazy stuff where you're picking cones up off the ground and dribbling around. I don't do all that, because I'm working on fundamentals. Right.
Yeah, if you had to pick up a cone in the game, well, then I'd implement it in my cone drill.
Right. But the mundane things, like doing things over and over, as an athlete, like you have to fall in love with that part of it. And it's hard for, like, you can tell if a guy's going to be great or not, because you can put them through workouts and you say, hey, you got to do this for 30 minutes. And if they can lock in and do it, because you got to be a little insane to do it too. If they can lock in and do it, you're like, okay, it's going to be all right. But a lot of people can't do that. They're like, why do I have to do this? Is this another way? No, it's no other way.
But when you understand this, and I don't think you get this when you're younger, and this is part of the wisdom of being older, it's the repetition and the mundane it's the simple things about following a routine in the morning or a routine at night, to work it out and stuff, like where it gets easier, where you just automatically, Neil talks about it all the time when he's telling us that he runs 10 miles when he's at Planet Fitness. But the whole point is it's part of his routine. That's what we're trying to make the stuff that sucks into the biggest thing, because you know what? In the biggest moment, that's when you revert back to your training.
Exactly.
And you don't have to think. And the object is because we're athletes, means we're talented, we don't want to think.
Right.
We just want to react. Like, if you're going to react like I react and want to elevate your senses, embrace the harmony of nature, where do you go? the Dispo Dispensary. Whether you're a seasoned connoisseur like myself or new on your plant life journey, Dispo has over 10 locations with experienced budtenders ready to serve your needs. Visit DispoShops.com today. Are you there today, Spenny?
We are.
You are. Check out the heavyweights and Ermanni and Edwards in Hazel Park, right?
Yes, sir.
Hazel Park Dispo on 9 Mile. DISPO shops.com, your local cannabis plug.
Can't get enough Woodward Sports content? Head over to woodwardsports.com right now for up-to-date sports articles and great entertainment news. We have the best writers, bloggers, and coverage all at your fingertips. Head to woodwardsports.com right now to experience all Woodward Sports has to offer.
The sports marketing agency would not be who we are without great community partners like Higuera Health and Carol Zaniga.
It's an awesome opportunity to partner with your organization. Higuera Health is a comprehensive behavioral health organization. We serve children through older adults with mental health, substance use, and developmental disabilities across Western Wayne counties, and really excited to now be in downriver communities as well. Give us a call at 734-458-4601.
We aren't quite sure if they consume more beer or sports. Either way, the heavyweights are here. Live on Woodward Sports, daily 5 to 7 p.m.
Big D Energy. Cruising along on this Friday, June 23rd. Yeah, check it out. The bottom line, Ermanni, Edwards with Maz, and the heavyweights are at 9 Mile in Hazel Park. If you're around at the Dispo today, go and get your stuff. You know, one of the things that I noticed here, Big D Energy, Darren McCarty, Lindsay Hunter in for Neil Rule. Spenny's here, Flannel's here. Hoof Hearted said, pro sports are too fast for the players to think. You have to make the plays automatic. I know in hockey, right, that's why it's beat down. And if you know, just so people get an understanding of sort of our hockey practice, like a practice during the season or whatever like that you're implementing, is you probably skate, you know, let's say 11 o'clock, right? And you're going to only practice for about probably an hour, right? Which is like intense stuff, but you're going to do drills and you're going to do like personal stuff after, but you're going to implement systems, right? So every day you're going to be going through the same drills, the dumping, up the wall, breakout, you know, hit the center the first time, hit the far wing the second time, then we're going to swing this and swing that. And by the time you do this every day, because either you're doing it or some sort of version on a game day, when you're doing a shoot around, you're not doing a full practice, but there's elements of the drills that you do in practice because it's about getting in position, right? The idea is in my game, which is going, and this is what blows me away, because I tell everybody, when the puck's on the ice, we can't hear anything in the stands. It's only what's on the ice now. The minute that the puck's picked up, the music, we hear everything. Right? So it's that focus, but everything's going fast. And if I watch a game and then I go stand on the bench or at ice level, I go, holy cow, are we going this fast? Because it doesn't seem that fast in the middle of it, but a lot has to do with practice, repetition, repetition, repetition. I say it all the time. What made the grind line so good on one,
not a game,
on one wavelength, right?
Practice.
On one wavelength, where I didn't have to think. I knew that if I got it and I'm over on the boards here, I could chip it there and Drapes is going, or I can hit it with Maltz, or I have this stuff like this. So that's why it's so important in basketball. But it's, guys, don't get it twisted. Allen Iverson had it right. Practice, 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 right? We all,
listen, we
all
practice.
like, what do we
Not
like
a
the most
game,
in practice?
we talking about
right?
practice.
When the coaches are gone and you get to mess around and do your individual stuff and shooting and stuff, which has something to do with it. How much of that, because what you said is the fundamentals, and you didn't realize it, but we're all learning the fundamentals. The fundamentals. Do it again. Do this. Get it right. Do it right. Like this. How important is that, and is that lost today, or is that what is that? Like, I guess I'm trying to take the long way to get around. Is that coaching? Like the biggest thing that the Pistons did was Monty Williams, because of what he's going to bring on a day-to-day, and that's where we're going to see it first, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And we talked about it. You hit upon it several times. Like, the basic fundamentals of his system defensively. Guys are going to know exactly, like you said, they're going to go through drills. They're going to go through, hey, we're down in pick and rolls. Hey, work on the rotations from here to there. Where are we going to trap from? Where's our help coming from? Guys are going to know automatically. You know, I knew in Larry Brown's system, we forced the ball baseline. We knew Ben or Rasheed was the low guy. That help is going to come automatically. I don't have to look. And he knew that when he left and went baseline, we call it the crackback guy. The crackback guy is coming every single time, every time. So when you do those things so many times, you know, like, I'm forcing this guy baseline. Pick and roll's coming. I jump high. Boom. I force him baseline. My baseline guy's coming. Crackback guy's going. We don't even have to think about it.
No, it's automatic. And maybe that's the question too. Spenny, when you think of Monty Williams, do you think defensive coach?
Not exactly.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So coming from Lindsay to the fact of what he told us about Devin Booker and the evolution to get off you're this offensive guru, but can you play, all around? Like, and Sam, maybe before you answer that, Spenny, like you said, not specifically, do you think of Monty Williams? When I think Monty Williams, it's what I'm told is, great with point guards, right? Do you think defensive system when you think Monty Williams?
It's not the first thing that comes to mind. I think of good with guards first, but obviously those teams that had great regular seasons and the one that made the finals, they did have a good defense there, or else they wouldn't have been there.
So is this more of the imperativeness, Spenny, like you said, where you don't think of that? It's like, okay, and then I got this guy, and now because now I look, because I'm thinking we have the pieces to be a good defensive team as far as the size, as far as the athleticism, do we not?
Yes.
And now
absolutely.
It's putting it together and maybe practice. Talk about this, Lindsay. Proper practice, right? Instead of just practicing, it's proper practice. You mentioned a little, you said this a little bit ago, everybody feel free to do what they want and coach the way they want. We're old school that if you don't pick up a cone during the game, I'm not going to make you do it during the drill. Right. That's just our common sense.
Right.
But how about the proper practice? And I think that goes with system too, right?
Yes. Like, and to your point, proper practice means that I'm implementing exactly what we're doing in games. Like, we're not going to defer away from, this is how we do it. This is the right way. This is how we're going to do it every time. We're down and pick and roll on the side every time. And I don't care how many times we have to go over it for you to get it. This is what we have to get to. This is our end goal. And it has to look the same way every time,
Yeah.
Teams are going to run different plays. Teams are going to do, everything in basketball ends up being pick and roll, pin downs, post-ups, isolations. That's what basketball exists of. And so we have to learn how to guard those, and our system is set to defend any one of those things. And you have to know exactly how.
Because you've seen it.
Yes.
And you've been there.
Yes.
And I know that, I always make the joke is, why do you think the grind line, was so good in the games or so physical or whatever? Because we never got to touch the puck in practice. We always got to touch in the game. So we're playing against elite and Hall of Fame and world-class athletes in practice only makes you better. That compete, right? Like, so I bet you some of the things we talked about earlier, if you didn't go back on the wherever you catch woodwardsports.com, is Lindsay explained a nice Ben Wallace sitting on a car smacking somebody in Philadelphia in his mouth for calling him biatch. Even Sam Plano said he knows that's the one thing you don't call Mr. Wallace. You could call him, non-deserving Hall of Famer, but don't call him a biatch. You're going to get that. But talk about the practices you guys used to have. I'm sure that used to be, like, going into a game, like, our practices were harder than our games.
Dude, our practices were war, and it was fun for us because we enjoyed just beating
on
the
each
crap
other.
out of each other. I mean, guys would come out of practice, jerseys ripped, blood everywhere. We're going in the locker room, sitting down, laughing like, yeah, I killed his ass today.
Yeah.
Did
you like that elbow, bro?
I mean, it was fun, man. Like, it was. It was fun. But our practice was so intense and so brutal. The games were nothing.
Yeah.
Like, we went out in games like, oh, man, this is light work
They can't
today.
go to that next level. And then it's sort of like, how does the other team feel when you guys are going there with black eye or whatever like that? What happened to you? Practice. He popped me. Yeah, we were fighting. And then it's like, I don't want to play against you guys. Right? That sort of mentality and stuff. All right, we're going to wrap this up. One last segment. We got Lindsay in here, so let's ask Lindsay any basketball questions. Maybe some more fight stories. Who knows? But first, one of my favorite things to do is golf. How would you like to come and golf?
Absolutely. And how would you like to see famous athletes like Jim Harbaugh, our very own Darren McCarty, and Braylon Edwards play golf with average Joes? Thanks to Randy Wise Automotive and Woodward Sports, you will be able to do just that. It's the Randy Wise Celebrity Golf Tour. Make the wise choice and pay attention to Woodward Sports for more information soon.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids, all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
Introducing the Planet Fitness Guide to getting that post-workout glow. Step 1. What's your why? More epic energy? Better sleep? Blow off steam? Step 2. Join Planet Fitness for just $10 a month and get moving in our clean and spacious clubs. Step 3. Bask in that post-workout glow. Join Planet Fitness today for just $10 a month.
Join today at any of the 50-plus Detroit area locations.
We aren't quite sure if they consume more beer or sports. Either way, the heavyweights are here. Live on Woodward Sports, daily 5 to 7 p.m.
Here we go. Last segment here, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network. My eternal thanks the last couple days to my boy Lindsay Hunter filling in for Heel Neil Rule. I got a great Ben Wallace story. You can rewind and check that out. Sam Flannel, Spen Mo, Rax. We're going to open up the phone lines, and it would be apropos. We're going to go to the booth of the ones and twos of Spenny Rax, and it's a question from Danny Raxter. Let's go, Danny Raxter. Big fan of Danny Raxter and the production of his youngest child. That's for sure. What do you got?
We got a lot of questions in the chat, but I might be picking a favorite here. Lindsay, my dad wants to know who's your top 5 of all time.
Oh. Is it that easy, or is it that easy, or who are the above the guys that obviously, right?
Yeah, that's.
I think here's the thing. So you got the LeBrons and the Jordans and like Isaiahs and stuff like that, but who are like a couple dudes that you are your favorite guy? Maybe not everybody's favorite guy at the top of the list, but from you either played with, played against, or whatever, that's your dude.
Man, that's always tough when people want top 5s, but I always go Michael, Magic, Larry. Those are my 3 guys that I'm like, to me, they
non-negotiables.
Yeah, they never can move. I don't care what people say.
Those are your non-negotiables.
They can never move. And then I go Akeem Olajuwon. And
respect for the big man.
Yeah, he was amazing. He was amazing.
Yeah, he was.
And shucks. Tough, man, because I still think LeBron is top 5 though. I'll give LeBron in there, my 5th.
All right, there you go. Thanks, Danny. What else?
Flannel don't like that, but hey.
We got a couple of them. Mike G, ask Lindsay, best Rick Mahorn saying or catchphrase.
Rick Mahorn?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know best phrase. What are you talking about? Pass me the plate.
I love it. Take that, Rick.
Yeah.
Take that. You want to pick on D-Mac? My boy Lindsay got my back. Yeah. I carried down 150 pounds and kicked my ass. We all good.
And,
we all good.
We have one from Let's Go Red Wings Sparty. Ask Lindsay, do you prefer playing in historic arenas like Madison Square Garden, TD Garden, etc., or new arenas with top-notch amenities?
I did love the old Square Garden. Was crazy. Like that. It was crazy playing in there. I liked that. I hated the old Boston Garden, because the locker room was about.
Oh,
it was
worse.
this big. Like,
We had the same one.
Yeah,
we had to dress in there too.
With the hole in the window.
Yeah.
That was pathetic, bro. They know they should have did better. Like, they could have put us.
Well, it was Boston.
You're right.
It was Boston, bro. I mean, I see. I was lucky because I got to play in all the, like, Chicago Stadium.
Yeah, I played in
Garden,
Chicago
all that.
Stadium.
That was great. Did you guys have to walk the stairs?
Yes.
So my rookie year in the exhibition, I got in a fight and I got everything thrown at me as I'm walking, get kicked out of the thing. It was awesome. Hey, do you remember, like, the upper deck during the anthem would just absolutely rock. There was no
place was crazy
like it.
too. Yeah, that place was nuts.
That was crazy. The newer ones are nice with all the amenities and all that stuff.
Yeah,
kids are spoon fed these days.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
Spoon fed.
Exactly.
Absolutely. What do you got going on? Anything big going on this weekend, or what do you got?
Man,
what's going on in life?
Taking my son to school, man.
Are you?
He's going to summer school early for basketball. They got their summer basketball practice, and that's like my road dog, man. So he's leaving now. He'll come back and visit. He's going to Mercer down in Macon, Georgia.
Oh wow,
playing ball there.
Yeah.
So
so you're in that little bit.
Man. That's my boy, man. He's
how old?
He's 21.
All right.
You know? But that's like my roadie.
I know.
That's my dude.
For last bunch of his whole life. Right?
Yeah. So he's going away, and man, I'm gonna miss the dude, but I'm gonna be down there a lot because they play. But actually, they play Michigan. They're gonna come up and play Michigan.
Are they?
Nice. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, they got to play a tough schedule. They're going to play Alabama in some tournament. I'm going to go there. I'm going to go check out all the games now.
Well, now you're just you're the Band-Aid now.
Be the fan now. I can be the fan boy now.
Absolutely. How hard is it though? Is it it's like when people it's harder to watch because you have no control, but you have to come into you get into a zone that you accept it. And for me, it's easier because it's not my game.
Right.
He's not playing my game.
Right.
So I can sort of like, you're on. Whatever, bro. Go ask your Uncle Chris. I have no idea what you're supposed to do there.
Right.
They used to let me. You can't get away with that anymore? Whoa.
Yeah, it's hard, but it's because we've done everything together. I've raised him, and I've raised him for basketball, so
right.
he knows, and I'm happy for him because he's happy.
He's ready.
But it's just we've never really been apart from each other.
There you go.
So,
well, mean, as everybody out there might know, that is a bit of a transition. Anybody who's in the Livonia area, Burton Manor, I'll be Astronomicon this weekend. Got the new My Last Fight True Story of a Hockey Rock Star graphic novel.
Hell yeah.
First 100 copies are out for sale. Saturday, the Greenhouse, Walled Lake. I'll be reffing some micro wrestlers.
Nice.
Small little bad dude. They're unbelievable. If you've never seen it, it's incredible. So, what do you guys got going? Any special this weekend?
Nothing that I can really think of.
Any special libation? No, I know there's going to be libations, but you got your mind made. Is it a tequila weekend?
Probably tequila weekend. Yeah. If
yeah.
it's not raining, I'll probably get out on the course sometime this weekend.
Nice.
So, I'm excited for that.
I love it. What about you, Sam? What are the newlyweds doing?
Saturday night's usually date night, so I'm sure we'll come up with something. I'm usually pretty creative when it comes to that stuff.
Of course you are. Oh,
of course you are.
He's still in that. He's still in that. Well, everybody, Neil will be back Monday. I'll be back Tuesday. Thanks for joining us again. Thanks to Lindsay and all of you for checking it out. So have a great weekend, deuces, and we will catch you next week. See ya.